I've already done a video on the永乐市fabric market, which is just about as intense as I remember it to be. Today I want to do a video on Mr. Zhang, whom I now call the pillow guy. He does pillows and curtains. I've done pillows with him for about 10 years. He does a really good job and it's very inexpensive. But it's a little bit tough to find, so I'm going to walk you through the place and show you where Mr. Zhang is. That's his shop right over there behind me. How much he charges and how the process works. So I call Mr. Zhang the pillow guy, and I will add his name card and his address and his telephone number and his booth number, which is on the 3rd floor, and it's booth 3043. The best thing to do would be, when you get to the 3rd floor, just sort of walk on the outskirt of the building, because he is one of his shop is like on the outskirt of the building, so you'll pass like elevators and stuff, and then you'll see his booth. It's like a big yellow sign. Yeah, before we get to that, let me just mention about the parking. If you're going to come here, I would recommend that you just you take a taxi, because the parking situation here is just insane. I drove. I didn't even try and get street parking, although there's a lot of street parking around here. But if you go around the building, or the block, or whatever you want to call this market square, on the northwestern corner is the entrance. There are 2 entrances to the parking. The one is the wrong one. So you have to go in on the northwestern entrance of the car park. It's on Yongchang Street. And you'll have to wait. I waited 15 minutes and then I got a parking right downstairs in the same building, which is quite convenient. Yeah, so then you come up the stairs. The 2nd floor is the fabric market, where they just sell fabric. And on the 3rd floor is where all the seamstresses and seam things happen. What's the male of a seamstress? Seamer? I don't know. Anyway, men and women making stuff. Pillows, clothes, lots of stuff. I come to this floor to find Mr. Zhang, the pillow guy, whom has, as I said, been making pillows for me for a very long time. I walk around the outside of the building until I find his shop, which is 3043 on the 3rd floor. Then I gave him 2 samples of the pillows I wanted. I wanted to cover my sofa, so I need 5 big pillows and 5 small pillows. So his wife was there and she measured it out and she looked at the fabric and she wrote in Chinese exactly how much fabric I need. If I got the size 150, then I needed 10 yards, and if I got the smaller size, I would need a larger amount. So then I took this Chinese measurement and went back to the 2nd floor, and there I found another shop that sells fabric on the 2nd floor. And the first shop I went into was store 2042, and this is the husband's shop, and he actually speaks English, which is great. So he said he didn't have enough of the fabric that I wanted, but his wife also has a booth at also on the 2nd floor, shop 2018. So we went to his wife's shop, and at the wife's shop I bought 10 yards of this creamy white fabric at 180 NT per yard. So my fabric ended up being 1,800. Then I went back upstairs. I gave it to the pillow guy, Mr. Zhang. They looked at it and measured it, and I had to make sure that the fabric wasn't going to shrink. So when I bought it, I asked the fabric shop if it's going to shrink, and they said no, it's already been washed, and so that it shouldn't shrink. So then I went back upstairs to Mr. Zhang. I gave it to him. His wife measured it, had a look, and then she worked out how much it was going to cost. She said it's going to take about 10 days. I think they're quite busy actually, because this is quite a famous shop. It's going to take about 10 days to make the 10 pillowcases. He knows me because I've made a lot of stuff, like I said, with him before. So I didn't have to give a deposit today, but I think if you're a first-time customer, he might ask you to give a deposit. So bring 1,000 or 2,000 as a deposit, depending on what you want to do with him. And so for 10 pillowcases, 10 days, and the cost will be 3,500 plus the 1,800 that I spent on the fabric, which brings it to like a total of 5,300 for the whole thing to get all the pillowcases made, etc., etc. So I've got my stuff, got my list, I've got my everything. Now I just have to find where my car is. I can't remember which elevator I came up on. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to get out of the building and go to the street because I know approximately where the car park is. I think it's going to be a lot easier to find my car if I'm not in this maze of fabric. Okay, on my way home, I just realized I forgot to mention something really important. My pillow guy, Mr. Zhang, does not speak English. So if you don't have a friend that can go with you and translate, that's going to make it a little bit complicated. So what I'll do is, on my blog page, I'll just write out a couple of Chinese sentences, like I want new pillows this size, or I want the pillow and the inner, because you got to remember he makes pillowcases as well as the inners. So I'll write out a few Chinese sentences on my blog page related to pillows, because when it gets to curtains, it gets a bit too complicated. And then you can just go and copy paste those Chinese sentences, and maybe that'll help you to communicate with them.